The state television company Western Armenia represents the most important events of these days. Today's broadcast. The Akhtamar Island has hosted 68,000 visitors in 2020. Explosions are planned near a number of communities in Artsakh. Occupation of some territories of Artsakh cannot be considered settlement of conflict. Armenia Foreign Minister. The new president of the National Union of Yazidis is Khydr Hajoyan. The young people play football on the frozen Nazik Lake of Baghesh. Today is Minas Avetisyan's Remembrance Day. The historic Armenian church on Akhtamar Island, located on Lake Van in western Armenia, that hosts thousands of tourists each year, hosted 68,000 people in 2020. For comparison, let us note that 225,000 people visited Akhtamar Island in 2019, which was closed to visitors due to the epidemic. The majority of tourists visiting Van are Iranian citizens. It can be reached after a 20-minute boat trip. Visitors do not leave the region without visiting Akhtamar and the Armenian Church of Lake Van. The State Emergency Situations Service of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Artsakh informs that the demining detachments plan to neutralize unexploded ordnance near the town of Martakert, as well as near the communities of Jankatagh, Mokhratagh, and Maghavuz. The Humanitarian Demining Center Foundation plans to carry out blasting operations within the framework of the demining program in the areas adjacent to the towns of Martoni and Martakert, as well as to the villages of Knatzakh and Daghbashyan in the Askeran region. The consequences of Azerbaijan's use of force against Artsakh and occupation of some territories of Artsakh cannot be considered a settlement to the conflict. Only the political negotiated settlement, which will respect all rights and will determine the final status of Artsakh, can be considered as the final point of the conflict. As reported by Armenian press, Foreign Minister of Armenia Ara Ayvazyan said at a session of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Regional and Eurasian Integration Affairs. The minister stated that after the 44-day war, rearrangements of both regional and major role players are taking place in South Caucasus. However, he added that it's still early to assess the ongoing developments and changes. The meeting of the National Union of Yazidis took place in Yerevan on February 22, during which Khydr Hajoyan was elected the new president of the union by the majority of votes. He is 31 years old, a lawyer, an archaeologist, married and has a child. Armenian press was informed about this from the National Union of Yazidis. According to the source, Khydr Hajoyan is the grandson of Aziz Tamoyan, the leader of the Yazidi National Union, who died on January 2 this year. Aziz Tamoyan was 83 years old. He has been leading the organization since 1988 for almost 33 years, a man who dedicated his whole life to preserving the identity of the Yazidi people. According to the National Union of Yazidis, Khydr Hajoyan does not consider the election to be a personal choice, but the preservation and development of the rights, religion, language, national values, culture, and education of the Yazidi people, as well as the guarantee of strengthening of centuries-old Armenian-Yazidi friendship. The surface of Lake Nazik in Baghesh, Ahlat, western Armenia is frozen. The surface of the delicate lake was completely covered with ice due to severe cold. Young people from the surrounding areas come here to have fun without thinking about the danger. One of the villagers says that they turned the frozen lake into an amusement park by playing football on it in winter. In his words, these places freeze every year after December. The ice of the lake reaches a thickness of about 20 centimeters. We also organize football matches with the young people of our village on the frozen lake. Minas Karapetavetician was a famous Armenian painter, one of the most brilliant representatives of Armenian fine arts of the second half of the 20th century. He was born on July 20, 1928 in Jajur. He started painting relatively late. As a teenager, he was fascinated by Martiros Saryan's art. He first met the animal painter at the age of 18. The miniature painting of the Italian Renaissance, which he became acquainted with while studying in Leningrad, had a great influence on the artistic and aesthetic development of Minas. Minas has created compositions, landscapes, reflecting the Armenian rural world, as well as portraits and frescoes. He referred to all spheres of painting, graphics, frescoes, stage painting, etc. Some of the famous paintings refer to the past of the Armenian people, especially to the Armenian massacres of 1915, from which the artist's parents escaped. The road created in 1965 to 1967 belongs to that period. My parents' memories, On the Way to Derzor. Minas' adult creative life lasted 15 years from 1960 to 1975, during which time the artist created about 500 large and small canvases, about the same number of drawings, 20 large-scale murals, and more than a dozen ballet and theatrical productions. Minas was involved in a car accident in Yerevan on February 16, 1975. He died a week later on February 23. Now we present you Are Varir, Arnosasar dancing song by a Gung ensemble. The full version is available on the official website of Western Armenia TV. This was all for today. Goodbye.